Hey y'all, today I want to expand on my 1-4 series by adding dominant sevenths to our 1 chord and our 4 chord. Once you add a dominant seventh, this brings us into the land of the mixolydian mode, which, as most of you know, is a major scale with a flat 7 instead of a major 7. If I was in a jam band, let's say like Jerry Garcia or Trey Anastasio, or I guess John Mayer through Lineage, I might play the mixolydian scale as just a mode amongst itself and not alter any of the notes on that. But as I come from Chicago, which is a city deep in blues and funky styles like that, we have a different way of playing mixolydian that I would venture to say is more common than just playing it as a straight scale itself. Today I'm going to show you a hybrid scale that will cover more sounds with the mixolydian than you can just get by playing the mode itself. It works comfortably on the 1-4 progression, and as well I'll give you a couple other tricks so you can sound like you know what you're doing on top of this progression. Thanks for watching. To start, let me explain the hybrid scale approach, where my typical mixolydian scale would start on my root and go through the 7 notes of the scale as written. The first sort of move you do when you're creating a hybrid of this is, instead of playing the 2nd of the scale, you go from the minor 3rd to the major 3rd. This move is what you're going to hear more commonly on top of a mixolydian, and I guess that it adds sort of a funk element. The other thing that it does is it outlines chord changes. When you get into playing on changes, one of the primary rules for playing changes is outlining your 3rds and 7ths. The hybrid scale would then play the rest of the mixolydian scale pretty much straight up. When I come back down though, I might precede my major 3rd with the minor 3rd. This leads me into a common riff that outlines the 3rd and the 7th on a dominant chord. And somebody told me years ago, it's the Cruella de Vil. So the idea of the Cruella de Vil riff is that I'm outlining my 3rd and building up to my 7th. If I want to come back down, again, I'm going to play the 4th and then the minor 3rd into the major 3rd. If I'm in the key of G, my 4 chord would be a C chord. If I move that Cruella de Vil lick to the C, I can play it in the same position around here. The Cruella de Vil in outlining 3rds and 7ths is crucial to when you're trying to learn how to play changes. I'm going to use my G7 jazz chord for my 1 chord on the 3rd fret, and I'm going to follow it up with a C9 chord. You could play C7, but to me the C9 chord is going to give me a little bit more of what I want. And what you're going to notice on these 2 chords, even before I start playing a rhythm on them, is that my G7 features a B as my 3rd. But the C9 features a B flat as the 7th. If you analyze those 2 notes against a G root, the major 3rd would be the B natural, the minor 3rd would be the B flat. So a quick way to play on top of this change and to make that sound like you're making changes is to simply play around the major 3rd on the 1 chord, the minor 3rd on the 4 chord. To give you an example of how I'm going to play the loop today on this progression, I'm going to start on my G7 chord. When I go to the C9, I'm going to add a walk up, back up to my G root. It's going to sound something like this. Here I've got the tempo on my loop just a little bit brighter, and I'm going to use a little bit of distortion and cover a little bit more of the neck, but still making those major to minor moves.